is money, honey. All we talk is money. All we talk is money. It's like bees to the honey. Honey, money, honey, money, honey. It's the SOSCAST, baby.
No, keep the applause going. It's all good. Makes you feel great. Need that validation in my life. How y'all doing out there? Welcome to the Friday version of the SOSCAST, only here on Valuetainment, the #1 channel in the world for entrepreneurs. Here on the SOSCAST, if you didn't know, now you know, we are the sexiest financial show in the world. This is where finance meets romance. My name is Adam Sosnick. You can call me Sos. I'm here with Natalya Delvalle, my lovely co-host.
Happy
and you know what we
Friday.
do here. We have one goal in mind. It's a multifaceted goal. It's 3 parts to the goal.
Okay.
But the goal is
What?
to make sure that you guys out there
Get
paid,
and
get laid,
and
do it your way.
Okay.
That's what we do around here.
Oh yeah, baby.
We have an awesome episode today. If you guys aren't familiar with super CEO businessman Brad Lee, he's going to be joining us at the beginning of the episode. And then we're going to be talking about a bunch of stories that are in the news these days. My good buddy, Joel Embiid. Yeah, that's what I said. Joel Embiid, the current newly named MVP of the NBA. We're going to share some stories that I've learned from hanging out with him throughout the years. We'll get some Tate updates, calling out the crypto boys out there. Ooh. If you're a crypto fan, if you're a crypto nerd, as Tate calls you, you're just going to brace for impact for this type of episode. We're going to talk about why certain women don't like men and why, at what age men should really be focusing on having kids. Before we bring in Bradley, who's I know is going to be literally dropping bombs on our audience today, quick shout out to Joey over here, because Joey just got married this past weekend.
Yay, Joey.
I tried to talk him out of it. I said, don't do it, bro. It's not worth it. And I do that to all my friends that are getting married. And I want them to sell me on why they should get married. You don't understand, bro. This is what I want out of my life. This is girls for me. And once they get past that test where they sell me, I say, go ahead, walk down the aisle, buddy. You know, 2 people I've given this speech to out of 100, and they're like, you're absolutely right. What the fuck am I doing with my life? No. Called off their marriage. One waited till the day after the wedding.
No.
Yeah, but I'd rather you do this up front. I'm not anti-marriage, I'm pro-marriage. But if nobody's giving you the hard conversations before you get married, listen, I'm batting 98% that they walk down the aisle, but there's 2% that don't do it. So Joe, congratulations on making it into the 98% category.
Good job.
And
Proud of you.
look forward to a beautiful family that you'll be raising. Speaking of raising a beautiful family, married man, stud, we got Bradley in the house today.
Woohoo.
CEO, entrepreneur, businessman, business coach, author, motivational speaker. He's joining us today, I think, in his studio in Las Vegas. Whenever Brad's ready, we'd bring on this stud. Let me know when he's ready to do this thing.
I'm ready.
Brad's ready.
There he is.
Brad, I don't know if you heard the intro that I edified you, but I can't tell you how many people are very excited for you being on the show today. So what is it that you've done that you've caused all this excitement from our entrepreneur audience to really look forward to you being on the show today?
That's a great question. I'd like to have that answer once you get it.
Well, I feel like at the end of our conversation, our interview, I feel like I'll have a better understanding of why so many people are excited to have you on the show. And I think that you know why people are so interested in you. Jorge, let's turn Brad up so I can hear what he has to say. So Brad, real quick, where are you right now, physically, work-wise? What are you focused on? Just so maybe introduce yourself to the audience that isn't as familiar with you as I am.
Well, thank you, Adam. Right now, I'm physically in Las Vegas, Nevada, in my office. I have about 28,000 square feet overlooking the city of Las Vegas. We create web-based training systems, usually for companies and/or subject matter experts. So that's where I'm at currently. Right now, again, I own Lightspeed VT as well as a bunch of other businesses. And I've accidentally kind of built a personal brand on social media, which, again, I mean, I'd love to find out why people were so excited to have me on the show. I would imagine because I like to say things that people only think, they won't actually say.
This is what are known as truth bombs, and that's why your show is called Dropping Bombs with Brad Lee. Am I wrong on that?
You are not wrong.
I'm not
You're
wrong.
dropping bombs.
Listen, some people are rarely wrong. Some people are always wrong. I'm somewhere in the middle. But today I had to apologize to a buddy because I was wrong. Sometimes you got to apologize, but I'm not wrong on this. So Brad, shout out to you. You brought up something very interesting before I get into my line of questioning today. You built a business, Lightspeed VT, before you built your personal brand. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so myself, I've been in traditional finance, hedge fund, investment world for 17 years. I had zero personal brand, dude. I was like my last friend on Facebook. I didn't know what Instagram was. Forget about TikTok and Snapchat, had no clue. But I built a real business. I had a real profession before I built my personal brand. Same thing with my CEO, friend, mentor, Patrick Bet-David, that's been on your show. He's been in the finance insurance game for 2 decades now. He built his business way before he built his personal brand and Valuetainment. What was the importance of really focusing on yourself, your career, your business before you started marketing your personal brand? How did that all work?
Well, I mean, first of all, I started the damn online learning space, in 1999. So there was nobody doing it. There was no internet, or barely any internet. There was no social media. So there was no personal branding back then. I guess there could have been, but not really. And then social media finally showed up. And by that time, I was already in the throes of building a company. I was helping people like Grant Cardone and, Tony Robbins and, Zig Ziglar when he was alive, even still his family, but all the big name trainers build amazing platforms to help people learn and grow. So I didn't really have time to focus on building a brand. And then I also watched and helped, several of them become known, almost celebritized with social media. And then I started to hang around and meet a lot of those, info space, name brands like Patrick, for example. But ultimately I realized that the personal brand, is extremely valuable. So I just had a few followers because I, got some attention from some of these guys and, just decided, okay, I'll start posting content to what I believe, and then, started growing from there. But now I realize the extreme value it has. So I guess it was kind of an evolution.
Gotcha. But I think it isn't important. So many people start a personal brand these days, build up eyeballs, but have no business or no strategy behind it. The ones that do capitalize on that. But I think that a foundation of business is incumbent before you start building a personal brand. People kind of have it different these days. You see TikTokers blowing up, billions of eyeballs. What do you do for work? I whip, I dance, I do challenges. Yeah, they do the nay-nay. There you go, Nat. But they don't necessarily have a business behind it. So anyway, that's more of a statement than a question. But I'm sure you've seen it all. Brad, my next question for you, and I feel like you're the perfect guy to really embody really what this question is. So I'm going to get personal with you for a second. Do I have your permission to get somewhat personal?
Oh, please do.
So my question is, I would never ask this to a lady, but for you, good-looking guy, are you 50 yet? How old are you?
54.
54.
Wow,
okay.
you're phenomenal.
Yeah, all right. You got Nat over here who's chasing
Phenomenal.
silver foxes like crazy. Guys, if we can, I don't need to see myself every time. Let's just keep Brad on the screen the entire time if we can.
Keep us in the corner.
Shout out to our production crew, crushing the game these days.
Yeah.
Awesome. Keep Brad's good-looking face on there. So Brad's 54. I say this all the time, that if men can take care of themselves, focus on their career, focus on their money, focus on their health, focus on their wealth, focus on a purpose, eat right, act right, get right, they can end up looking like Brad Lee, 54, multimillionaire, right? Like, this is fine wine as a man, okay? I'm 42 years old. If you tell me that in a baker's dozen years, I'm as good looking and successful as Brad Lee, check, fuck it, I'll take it, done. All right, so message to you guys out there. So you're 54, you're married?
Yes.
Married, you have kids?
Yes.
I saw
7.
I saw a number out there. I didn't want to put the
7.
number. 7 kids.
Nice.
All right, I got some
7
catching up.
kids.
I got some catching up to do, brother. Wow.
How many girls? How many boys?
Chief.
What's
I
that?
have 2 boys, 5 girls. I said, you better
Wow.
get busy, Chief.
Wow.
Yeah. Holy shit.
A girl's
All right.
dad. That's a job.
He's a girl dad, and he's
Yeah.
also said, "Fuck it, I'm also a boy dad." I got 2 of those too.
But a girl dad
Wow.
is, that's kind of a lot.
So
too.
here's my question to the fine wine that is Brad Lee. The question encompasses playing the long game, right? Especially as a man, why it's important to play the long game, all right? When I was 16, I had pimples on my face. I was a freshman, 15 years old on my football team, getting no love, sports, women. By the time I'm 18, I'm the homecoming king. I'm the MVP of the team. I learned in high school, holy shit, there's a big difference between being 15 and 18 playing the long game. I was broke as shit in my 20s, okay? But what I realized is I need to develop a skill that turned out to be sales, networking, relationships, and then I became a millionaire by 35. And when I basically made some money, had some free time, I developed my personal brand. Everyone has an aha moment when they kind of need to change their life and motivate them to do something with their life. So for me, I remember being 25, 26 years old, and like my weirdest friend made 70 grand on a real estate deal. I'm like, oh, this year? He goes, no, on this one deal. I'm like, holy shit, this guy just made 70 grand. This is insane. PBD tells a story about when his dad had a heart attack that motivated him to basically change his life and get it together. So my question for you, Brad, is like, what was your aha moment? I assume you didn't come from money. I assume that you had to hustle and grind to even get to the position that you're in. So what was the aha moment that you went from 0 to hero? And what was your trajectory from 20 to 30 to 40 and beyond?
It's a great question. You caused me to reflect. I'd have to look back. I tend to live in the now, or possibly lean into the future. The past I just use for kind of learning, and then I leave it there. You know what I mean? But if I look back, I would say that the pivotal moment in my life, I think, was when I went from worrying about myself to worrying about helping other people. Legitimately, without even thinking about it. There was a kid that worked in the back of my dealership. I was running a car dealership, and I was probably making $400,000 or $500,000 a year, maybe $600,000. So I thought I was cool and everything, but I was always out to get myself wealthy, and I just want to be rich, and it was always about me. Every time I did something, it was always for me and about me. And so I helped this guy make some money, go from minimum wage to about 15 or 20 grand by teaching him sales and closing. And I watched how it impacted his life, and I thought to myself, man, that's powerful. I want to go do this and help more people make more money. So I quit my job and went and started a company to help people make more money, which was training them sales. And then I discovered in that process that training is not just, watching a video or listening to someone speak. Training has 4 key ingredients. And that's when I realized that. But that's when success started chasing me. And then when I look back, I go, what was the pivotal moment? And it was right then, and it was because I went from caring about me to caring about others. Isn't that weird? Because that's what they say, the best way to get what you want is to help others get what they want, which is totally true. So the more people you can help, believe it or not, the more successful you're going to be. But that was probably the pivotal moment. The aha moment was in retrospect. I didn't have it during the time. I didn't know it was happening during, you know what I mean? I had to look back and realize that is what happened.
It's so interesting because for me, I said my aha moment when I was broke as hell, basically crashing on friends' couches. I was a nightlife guy. I was doing stand-up comedy. I was doing substitute teaching. I was just kind of a good. What was that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
You were happy though, weren't you?
I was happy, but I was broke. Yes.
So, dude, that doesn't matter. I mean, you can be broke and happy at the same time.
Yeah, until some shit happens where you need to pay some bills, and then you're not that happy.
You still should be happy. You woke up this morning. I mean, at the end of the day, if I handed you guys $10 million cash, you guys would have a field day. You'd be so excited for weeks on end. But waking up, you wouldn't trade that for 10 million. So you realize waking up is worth more than 10 million. So every day I wake up, dude, I literally get as excited as someone handed me $10 million and realize it was more valuable than being handed $10 million. And then I go throughout the day accordingly. Like, I think every day is a great day as long as I wake up. It's just how good is it going to get is the question. It's already good, and so it's going to be a good day no matter what.
But
Question is, how much better is it?
did you always have that mindset even before you made money, or did this mindset occur once you started having success?
No, it started to occur, and then I started having success. You know what I'm saying? I think if the question is, if someone came to me and said, Brad, what would you say I need to focus on if I want to be successful? Because again, I dropped out of high school at 16. I'm not supposed to be a successful guy. So I would say mindset, skill set, and habits. Those three things, if you have the right mindset and the right skill sets and the right habits, nothing can stop you. But if you are being stopped or you're not where you want to be, just go focus on one of those three things, or all of them, because I guarantee you your problem is within those.
I think I fully agree that, and I've seen you had this conversation. I've seen a bunch of your clips where you asked a kid that exact question: is that, would you be happy with $10 million? Of course, but would you be like, if you had $10 million, basically, if you had that in your grave, would you be happy, or would you be happy just being young and broke at 20? And there was like an epiphany that the guy basically realized. So I fully appreciate that. At the same time, you can be happy when you have no money, but I think you can agree when you have money, it adds an extra flavor of happiness to life, no doubt. But what I wanted to ask you was the transition that you made when you said, yeah, I wanted to help other people. You didn't do that when you were broke. You did that when you said you were making $500,000 a year in the...
That was broke.
That was broke?
Yeah, I mean, dude, if you make $500,000 and spend $600,000, you're broke.
Yeah. Well, if you make 50 grand and spend 60 grand, you're broke. If you make $1 million and spend 2 million, you're broke. But you don't have to be broke if you make $500,000, Brad, right?
Well, that ain't the question if I had to be or not. I just was.
So you had a spending problem, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I figured if I can't save it, I'll just try to make more of it so I couldn't spend it all. And that's the only way I could save, because people were always teaching me to save. And now we realize you can't get rich by saving. Nobody's gotten rich by saving.
True, but the only way to start investing is saving, though. I fully agree. Like, for instance,
it's not the only way. It's not the only way. You can make an abundance. In other words, if you can't save money because you spend it all, make more than you can spend.
So at that time,
literally, that is what I did. I still don't save money. Like, I'm terrible at saving money. Why? Well, in my mind, I have an abundant mindset. I'm not worried about money. More will come. Now, some people will say, oh, that's a bad way to think about it. Listen, it's worked my whole life. More continues to show up, and I grow through COVID. I grew through the 2008 deal. I grew every time there's a financial issue. Oh, big dog daddy B grows. Now, why? Because I believe it's an abundant mindset. I am not worried about where the next dollar comes from, because dollars can be created very easily. All you have to do is solve problems and provide value. And I'm a problem solving value machine.
So what I love about interviewing guys like you is you're different than most people. And that I assume why you attribute a lot of your success to is because you're not like most people. One of the things I often say is most people are most people. Now, with that being said, most people are going to hear that and be like, this guy, Bradley, is out of his fucking mind. Yeah. He doesn't believe in saving money. He's got an abundance mindset. He believes he can make more. Hey, brother, I make 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, and I'm struggling to get by. Here's Brad Leaf making $500,000 a year, and he thinks he's broke. So, to the people out there that maybe agree with you, because there's going to be probably a segment of the audience are like, hell yeah, Brad, abundant mindset. I'm with you. Gratitude, all that. I'm making $500,000 a year, and I want to get to the other level. I think we can appreciate that to make $500,000 a year, you're literally in the 1%. So that means that there's 99% of people who are not making that. So what would you say to the essentially 99% who are like, Brad, I love you, brother, but hey, $500,000 a year ain't broke. I'll take that. What would you say to those people of what they can do to their mindset to get on your level?
Well, number one, I'd say, well, what are you waiting on? You'll take that. Well, why don't you have it yet? Because the only reason you don't have it is you don't know how to get it, or you just don't care. Because at the end of the day, dude, $500,000 a year, everyone should be making that or more. Now, if someone said, Brad, that's crazy for you to say. I can confidently say I can show anybody, how to make $500,000 a year or more. Every single year. Now, you might not like what you have to do to earn it, but guess what? It's pretty easy to earn. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, again, number one, you're going to have to sell something. We know this, right?
Yep.
So are you good at sales? It's all going to boil back down. Here's what I tell them. It boils back down to your mindset, your skill set, and your habits. If they're not making $500,000 a year, it's because their mindset, their skill set, or their habits have issues. That's all I'm telling you. Like my habits, they might be, I might smoke a cigar, bad habit. Yeah, well, I got other habits that make me a lot of money. Why? Because I have a lot of money. Not a lot of money compared to Patrick Bet-David, from what I hear, by the way. Old PBD's freaking hitting home runs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I still got a little dough. So that's the evidence. So like people that say, Brad, for example, what should I focus on in life? And I don't know why they're asking me, probably because, my perceived success. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, the number one thing should be health. Because at the end of the day, if you aren't healthy and you don't have your health, you'll give up all your money to get it back. So the next one would be relationships, because if you were going to die tomorrow, you literally start thinking about relationships and people. You don't even think about money and cars and houses or any of that. So the first one's health, the second one's relationships, and then the third one might be money, because money comes from relationships. Like if somebody wants more money, they just need more relationships. Because if you knew the right people, you'd have everything you want. And if you don't have everything you want, it's because you don't know the right people. The more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Fully agree with that.
Again, yeah, success is not difficult. So what I would say to that person that says, I'd love to take $500,000. Okay, well then get on it. What are you waiting on?
So I know that you're not gonna give all the answers, because at the end of the all right. So walk me through what this mindset, skill set, habit should look like. Let's say you're a 25-year-old guy out there, 30-year-old guy out there. You're like, I hear you, Brad. I'm a fan. I'm making 50 grand a year right now, 100 grand a year. I'm working on my mindset. I'm working on my skill set. I'm improving my habits. But go deeper. What should they actually do in each of those three categories, in your opinion?
Well, again, you just said it. Just make sure you're constantly developing. As long as you're moving forward, you're heading in the right direction. But there's people out there looking for success. They don't even know what it looks like. They can't visualize it. If they can't visualize it, how are they supposed to find it? And by the way, you don't necessarily, chase success. Everybody talks about chasing their dreams. I don't really want to chase them, because you'll get tired eventually. Why don't you just build them? Why don't you create them? You know what I'm saying? Why do you have to chase them? Since we're little, we're told all of these things that we tend to believe, and ultimately throughout life, through our negative talk and other people's negative talk and all of our experiences, we chip away at our self-esteem, and subconsciously, which is below awareness, we tend to believe that we're not worth any more than we have. Because if you thought you were worth more, believe it or not, you'd actually have more. The only reason you don't have everything you want is because you don't think you deserve everything you want. And if you do, it's coming. It might take a little time, might take a little work. Why? Because it works. I mean, at the end of the day, work takes time sometimes. I can teach people exactly how to get everything they want in life. And when I'm done, they always say, yeah, but, here, I'll tell you. First thing you got to do if you want anything you want in life, and this goes for relationships, money, whatever you want. First thing you have to do is figure out what it is. Would that make sense?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like that's step one, figure out what it is. Now, a lot of people think, well, that's easy. And then step two is figure out how to get it. Now, that's where everybody thinks that's the difficult part. That's the difficult part. That's what I need help with. I don't understand the how to get it part. Well, that's the easy one. Okay, the hard one is figuring out what it is, because a lot of times it's hard to figure that out. How to get it is simply finding someone who's already got it, who's already done it. And you ask them what they did, or you study and see what they did, and then you do the work. That's step three. Do the work they did. Do what they did. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get what they got. Why? Because like action causes like result. That's a universal law. So at the end of the day, like action causes like result. Now, you can sprinkle talent and all these different exceptions in there. if somebody wants to argue that. But at the end of the day, generally what I'm saying is 100% correct. So all you have to do to get what you want in life is figure out what it is, find someone who's already done it, do what they did, and you'll probably get what they got. That's how you get everything you want in life. You want better relationships? Stop tolerating shitty ones.
You hear that?
Heard it.
Well,
It's common sense though, right?
you kind of teed up my next question perfectly because it's under the topic of chasing success. So whether you want to call it chasing success, pursuing success, building success, as you said, there's a famous quote out there in the manosphere, and they say chase success, not women. So for this question, we're going to call it build success, not women, right?
Don't build them.
So you have an awesome quote.
No, I would say build success and appreciate women.
Okay.
Right there with you.
And by the way, when you appreciate women, your women appreciate. Do you want things to appreciate or depreciate?
Oh, I'm all about appreciating assets, baby.
Yeah, and by the way, ladies, same thing. Appreciate your man, and your man appreciates.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Nat.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I wanted to hear that all day.
Okay, I appreciate you, Nat. Hey, Brad.
Yes?
Appreciate you too, bro.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
So, building success, appreciating women, not chasing women, not, chasing success, all that fun stuff. One of my favorite quotes that I heard from you, Brad, was this. You gave it was a TikTok. You said, focus, where you should focus your attention to you young kings out there. And I'll just sort of paraphrase. You said, if you're sitting out there chasing women and having fun, you're going to wake up one day and realize that none of it was worth anything. It's not going anywhere. You're going to wake up one day wishing that you put your focus on something else. You don't need anybody. You need to get yourself right. You need to get yourself happy. Go fall in love with yourself before you worry about anybody else, right? You talk about building your success, not chasing women, appreciating women. How did you learn this mindset? Is this from your own personal experience, or were you watching others trying to basically be womanizers and falling behind in the success category? How'd you come up with this?
Well, again, a little of both. I think I've been in situations. First of all, like when people say people don't change, people do change. So I would say a little of both. Like I wouldn't say I'm a womanizer. I would just say that, like, growing up, I used my skills for evil sometimes.
Brad, I feel you, and it takes one to know one. Continue, sir.
Yeah. So, ultimately, guys, listen, it's just experience. Eventually, people learn. Like, I wrote a book called The Hard Way. It's basically stuff people are going to learn with or without reading that book. The question is how much is it going to cost them to learn it?
Yeah.
I've already learned it. So these are just some of the things that you learn along the way. Like, cheating on your significant other. It's better just to go home and have the fight before you cheat, so you can walk away with your integrity. Like say I was about to cheat, which tells me we've got some sort of problem here, right? Nobody does that. They just cheat. Why? Well, because that's the easy way to go. Well, I fancy myself as the only dude on planet Earth that won't cheat.
Do you really?
And I might not be. There might be other good guys out there, but I'm one of them. I don't care how hot you are. I'm not cheating. I would go home and ask for a divorce and then come back and hump you.
I love
After
that.
you get a divorce.
Shout out
of
to
course
you.
she loves that. Well, here's what I'll say to you. There's a whole narrative or conversation about, how familiar are you with, like, the manosphere and red pill topics? Andrew Tate, Rollo, Michael Sartain, we talked about him.
Try me.
Okay, so you're familiar with this world. So there's
Dude,
this.
what do you think? I'm 100?
You're 54. You look like you're 34. Keep crushing it,
Hey,
dude.
I'm paying attention. Tate, he emailed me one time, this was right in the beginning of his rise. I get an email from Emory Andrew Tate, and he says, I like your show. I think we would break the internet. And I'm like, talk to Maria. I didn't know who he was. Like, who the hell's Andrew Tate? And then he said it again, and I'm like, who is this guy? And so I Googled him, and that's when he was sitting in his apartment talking on the computer a lot. I don't know to who, but he still wasn't who he is today.
Yeah.
But he was getting bigger. So I'm like, hey, was that the guy that emailed me? And they said, yeah. And I said, I like that guy, because I was listening to him talk to that guy on the computer, and I'm like, dude, he's got some good points. He's got some good points. So I started listening to him. And I'm like, yeah, dude, get him on my podcast. And then as soon as I said, come on my podcast, he said, yeah, I'll be over there on these dates. And then next thing you know, boom, shot to the moon.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, he gets put in the old Romanian jail, and here we are today.
Yeah.
So I know of Andrew Tate quite. I want him on my show. Tell Patrick to give his ass a call. I know Patrick is his buddy now, because Patrick flew to Spain to film that, didn't he?
Yeah, with Adam.
Yeah, with me. Yeah, we both.
You were in it. You were in it. I watched that, dude. That's like freaking badass. That was fun. See, I like Andrew Tate. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, you can't say that. Bullshit. Like, if you don't like Andrew Tate, dude, you have a problem a little bit. Now, again, if you're female, I think you have a misunderstanding. Why? Because there's some things I've heard him say that I'm like, dude, that's stupid. Just like Trump. But at the end of the day, do I think he's capable of being a, what they're saying, a sex trafficker? I don't think so. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't know.
No, I fully endorse your opinion, brother. Yeah, 100%. We're on the same page there. But my question, since we're going to use this like duality or polarity, is, Tate became famous. A lot of the red pill people became famous for saying the exact opposite thing that you're saying regarding cheating on women, right? And you basically advertise yourself as the one dude in the planet that would not cheat on his woman. But my question to you, Brad, is, so there's this whole narrative of like, once you reach a certain status as a man, a high value man, however you want to characterize that, I think we can all agree, good looking, successful, network, status, multimillionaire, providing value, all that and
then some. Big old ding dong.
What's that?
I said big old ding dong.
That's right. Flexing on them.
Yes.
But so there's this whole narrative, even a guy we interviewed yesterday that's saying, even women, if you're dating women over 27, you have the reserve to, explore your options.
Yeah.
So what's your stance on cheating, exploring options? High value man should be able to capitalize on basically what they've created.
High value man wouldn't do it.
What's that?
A high value man would not do it. So there is no such thing as a high value man that cheats. That would make him a low value man.
So then you would disagree with Tate and some of his things he says on this specific topic.
I've never heard Tate say it's okay to cheat.
Oh, Brad. He said
Andrew
that once
Tate
or twice or 100 times.
Yes.
Brother.
Again,
yes.
I've never heard it, but if Andrew Tate was on here right now and he said it's totally okay to cheat, I would say it's totally okay not to. Period. So there is nobody on earth that can convince me that cheating is okay. It's not okay.
Okay.
It's not okay.
And this is my speculation. You've learned that the hard way, I'm assuming. You've cheated, but you've had an unhappy ending to a relationship. How'd you come up with that?
It's ethics and integrity, bro. It's nothing that you come up with. It's something that you learn. And I didn't necessarily learn it the hard way because, like, my life's been good my whole life. Like, that's another thing we get told. Life is difficult. Life is hard. Life isn't difficult. Life is not hard. Life's pretty easy. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, do I think that life is easy?
Yeah.
I think life is not easy, bro.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Maybe if you're Brad
I don't know
Lee.
what life you're living, but it's pretty damn easy for me. That's all I can say.
Well, I'll say this. I think people overcomplicate life. I think people fall victim to jealousy, materialism, consumerism, keeping up with the Joneses, trying to basically look in the mirror and you're not happy because you don't have everything all your friends have. But kind of back to your beginning statement, if you can just wake up and you're not, you're not stretching your arms, feeling a wooden box, gratitude, I feel like I fully appreciate that. Life can be complicated. But back to your point. I didn't say it wasn't
complicated. I said it wasn't hard. Life is not hard.
If you have a path that you're on.
So listen, I'll argue about cheating because of ethics and integrity is my point. So Andrew Tate, he might be saying it's okay to cheat. It's okay to cheat because he believes so. And that's his prerogative to believe that. But I believe deep down, he already knows the answer. And the answer is, it's not okay to cheat. It's not okay to cheat. Just like, is it okay to cheat if his world champion belts, Is it okay to cheat to get the championship? Is it okay to get lead gloves and lead shoes? No, it's not okay to cheat in a sporting event. Well, then how's it okay to cheat in a marriage?
What happens if it's not in a marriage?
Well, then that's not cheating. Now, again, if it's in a relationship, to me, that's as good as a marriage. Why? Well, because again, if we commit to each other, which people do in a relationship, that we're not going to have any other relationships except this one, and that's a commitment, right? That's cheating. So you don't have to be married. You have to be committed. So if you and I, or not you and I, but if me and Nat decided to make a deal.
Yeah, Brad, not you and I, bro.
Yeah, if Nat and I decided to make a deal where like, hey, we're going to exclusively see each other, and she says cool and I say cool. Well, until I break that agreement, I'm not cheating. Why? Well, because we made an agreement.
Right.
So I think once you make an agreement, you should stick with it. I don't think people that cheat are these dirt balls. I just think they're breaking their agreements. And that's their choice. I don't think breaking your agreement is good. Now, if Andrew can convince me of that, then he'll be a slick talking son of a bitch, which I know he is.
He is,
but I don't think he can. I'd like to debate him. And again, on my show, I'd be talking about like shit that I think he did that's funny, and I'll be asking him questions. I'm not going to debate him about things like this. But if he were on here debating me, I would debate him. Why? Well, because you can't win that argument. You cannot convince people that it's okay to cheat. And if you think you can, you're not. You're talking to a bunch of young men that you influence so heavily to believe that cheating's okay, and that's just not okay. And if that's why he got canceled, I still don't think he should be canceled, but that starts to explain it. I've never heard him say that. The shit I hear him say, I tend to agree with. Like, I tend to agree with a lot of things he says. I've never heard him say, you can cheat. Does he say that?
I think it's more so he promotes like exercising your options if you are considered a high value man. And
but Natalie, he's probably talking about a single high value man. Then I would agree with him. Like if I'm a single high value man and I have no commitments, I'll be freaking, going out there enjoying the oyster of the world, right? The world is my oyster. I would be enjoying just like he is, just like Tristan is. But if I made a commitment to a lady, I'm not breaking that commitment. And I'll bet you if you asked Andrew in that context, he would agree.
All right, well, I'm going to ask him straight up. Brad Lee says you never cheat.
Yeah, let him watch this. He knows who I am. The other day, he basically said something in a video that I made up, so I know he got it from me.
Gotcha. If you could go back in time, I know you would tell Maria, get this guy on the damn phone, Maria.
Dude, if I could go back in time, it's like, come on, Andrew. Now I'm emailing him like, Andrew, buddy, sorry, I didn't know who you were, brother. Come on, dog.
All right, well, we'll see what we could do there. Let's get into how long you been married now?
Including today?
yes, hopefully.
10 years and a couple months.
10 years.
Wow, congratulations, a decade.
Thank you.
10 years,
nice.
7 kids.
No, 7 kids are from 4 women. 7 kids,
Okay.
4 women. Hey, sounds trashy, but I can explain.
Please do,
I
sir.
like how you addressed that.
Go ahead.
Well, like in high school, I decided to try this thing they called sex.
Oh, nice. I heard of that.
17 years old.
Right.
Boom, one time, one baby.
Wow.
Wow.
First time?
Yep, and had no choice in the matter because obviously, the woman decides whether a baby's born or not. So it's like, hey, I had a baby. What can I do about it? Now, I would ask you, did you ever have sex in high school?
I did, sir. Don't tell my mom, though.
See what I'm saying though? Like that's not trashy. That's not bad. Like everyone does. So one time, one baby. Then I thought, dang, I better not do this anymore. So I waited a couple years, 19 and a half, one time, one baby.
No way.
This guy's one-shot wonder over here.
Like it's like bam, another kid. So now I got 2 kids from 2 moms. Then I came to Las Vegas in 1991 and met my first wife and obviously got married. So we had 2 children, 2 boys. So now there's 4 kids, 3 moms. And then my wife decided that she really, really, really wanted to be in charge. And I told her, well, that can't happen. Like if I'm in charge, I can't necessarily let you be in charge. So I'm in charge. We disagreed. So we decided to get a divorce. And so then I met my next wife, who I never thought I'd get married again. But then I thought, this one's so cool. We never argue. There's no issues. She's freaking sweetie. So I said, okay, screw it, married her. And then we had 3. So there's 7 kids from 4 women, but it's completely explainable.
Well, you're the only businessman CEO that basically on the surface looks like you do, but deep down inside, you're like Nick Cannon, rapper, and Busta Rhymes out here. But yeah.
You ain't lying.
Respect to you. Something you mentioned.
They called me that in high school. Cannon.
Cannon. Yeah. See how that worked out? I went with the Cannon there. I was right.
Would you say having your first child so young definitely matured you faster than the rest, or was it just like it kind of prepped you for what was ahead?
No, because again, I didn't really, I wasn't a very responsible individual. So I didn't really, I didn't really become a dad. I became a outlaw.
Oh, okay. When would you say you became a dad when you were having kids? Which kid?
I became a dad when I was married and had 2 sons.
Yeah.
And do you think it was different because you were married and did it?
Yeah, and they were there because again, these weren't my wives, they weren't my girlfriends, so I didn't live with them. I was 17 years old for the first one, so there was no, and I was basically out on my own because I got kicked out at 16. So like I didn't really, I was sleeping on friends' couches. It's not like I could have, brought a wife and a baby home.
Right.
And I didn't do the right thing and marry him anyway, which again, technically isn't necessarily the right thing. It depends on everything. But ultimately I just didn't, face up to responsibility. So I was pretty much a jerk off till I was 30.
Jerk off. Have
I'm
several.
a late bloomer. I'm a late bloomer.
Have several questions for you, Bradley. By the way, if you're liking the interview with Bradley so far, hit the like button. We appreciate that you guys are here. Subscribe here to the SOSCAST on Valuetainment.
Yes.
Subscribe to Bradley's podcast. It's called Dropping Bombs, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. And make sure, see if you guys give us some good questions. We have a great guest today.
We're going to be managing the super chats. If you have questions for Brad or questions for us after the interview or even during the interview, we're going to be answering those as well.
Yes.
We're here with Bradley, a.k.a. the Cannon, a.k.a. the one-shot wonder.
Don't start that rumor. I'm just joking.
a.k.a. Cannon. One thing you said in your explanation of a boy becoming a man, having kids, they say like any man could be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad. It sounded like you became a real man, a real dad around age 30. But something that else that stuck out to me is you said your first marriage, she said that she was in charge. You said that you were in charge. You can only have one CEO of your company. You know that as the CEO of your company. What was that situation like when the wife thought she was the boss, but you're the boss, and that led to a divorce? Who's in charge in a relationship? How should it work?
Great question.
It's a good question. Now, in my opinion, it has to do with their own personal beliefs and their own personal upbringing. Now, to me, I'm a little traditional. I think the guy is supposed to be the one that's paying all the bills. A guy is supposed to like I know people that like the guy makes the wife pay half their mortgage, and I'm like, the girl's not supposed to pay. The girl's not supposed to pay for dinner. The girl's not supposed to pay for your house. You're supposed to pay, and then the girl's supposed to obviously just be happy, be home. And by the way, whether they work or not is irrelevant. People always think I want women to be at home just because mine is. Mine wants to be there. I support her in that. I don't mind. Why? Because I think just because you don't work doesn't mean you don't work. I think a housewife with 3 kids is working harder than a girl that goes and does a job during the day. Because it's difficult, man. So anyway, bottom line is, what was the question?
Well, yeah, essentially you answered it. Basically, they say that men lead, women follow, right? And it sounds like you're more traditional. You might have a lot of feminists that are basically to be picketing at your door right now.
Well, here, let me help them then, because to me, it's who makes the money. If my wife made what I made and I didn't have to do anything, and that was the source of our life's existence, well, then I would chill out at home and take care of the kids, and I have no problem. Although I'd be hiring a bunch of help, I wouldn't be doing it myself. If she made millions of dollars, I would be so freaking excited and pumped and willing to set it home. I don't really care. And by the way, I wouldn't set it home, just for the record, because I like doing things. So I would not set it home, even though I could, but I'd be happy if I could. I can't. I don't have the option. Now she happens to want that. So again, that's just like kind of a traditional fitting. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I say I have a magic floor. Every time I throw my clothes on the floor, somehow magically they get ironed and pressed and back up where they go. So and someone got all pissed and put a comment on my social media, and I said, listen, she's got a magic purse, so it's okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. So how does it work? Actually, I have that quote. I have a magic floor. Every time I throw my shirt on the floor, it's washed or back in the closet. I love that because your wife wants to do that. Your wife wants to be a housewife. Your wife wants to be a homemaker, right?
Yes.
But that comes with a certain level of responsibility for you, right? Where, you gave the
100%.
example of the guy who's splitting the mortgage with his wife, and they're splitting 50-50, which is such a new concept, right? Traditionally, men made all the money, women didn't work, right? So there was no option for that. Now women are working as much as men. They're going to college as much as men. They're out earning many men. Do you think traditional days are kind of numbered because women are so empowered these days? The feminist movement, go out, get your money, get your bag. You don't need no man. Like, how old are your oldest kids? In their 30s even?
Yeah, 37 is the oldest one.
So what advice do you have for your daughters when it comes to men, relationship, and money?
Well, as long as they're happy, I really don't care. Because again, it all boils down to being happy. So whatever makes them happy is really what matters. But as long as that's the truth, like as long as they're actually happy, then none of that matters.
Got it.
I actually have a question from the chat. It's not a super chat, but I appreciate the question. It's from Chris Casafranca. He said, when did you feel the happiest in your relationship? So out of all of them, when did you feel like you were the happiest? And what was that moment?
Out of all my relationships?
Yes.
Well, the one I'm in now.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's only one answer here, Brad.
But was there a specific moment where you realized, wow, this woman specifically is the woman that I want to spend my life with because of X, Y, and Z? She's very feminine. She's very gentle. She's very submissive. What was the characteristic for you that was I want to give this marriage and children a shot again? Because, you came from already having kids and a marriage. So to make that decision again, you've had experience, you've had choices. So what was that turning point for you in this relationship specifically?
Well, again, I didn't buy into that fairy tale, I want to spend the rest of my life with them. I don't think in terms of like that. I thought, worst case scenario, we'll get divorced. I didn't think I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I thought, man, this girl's cool. I love her. She wants to get married too. Let me think. Okay, worst case, it doesn't last forever. And by the way, chances are it won't last forever. Chances are according to statistics, most marriages don't last forever. The majority end. The other ones end in death. So either way, marriage isn't necessarily the best idea in the world.
Yeah.
And do you think because she was more okay staying at home, that kind of fit your lifestyle with what you wanted to do with your job? Do you think that was a characteristic that was she would fit the life that I want, and she allows me to lead the family? Would you say that was a characteristic for you that you wanted to pursue?
No. I, in my mind, I was done having kids. I'm not having any more kids, so I don't need anybody at home. It's not like I needed someone to, take care of my dogs or anything. So I was literally a single bachelor, and I was going to live that way. I was going to go live like, Tate does. But I met her, and again, I'm not a big, in other words, I'm not out prowling. I think being promiscuous nowadays could cost you your health, which again, it's not that big a deal. So, I was patient, but ultimately I was single, and I ran into this one, and she was like really cool, like just laid back, never argued, you know, pretty, obviously, you know, killer body. It was just, she was awesome. And I enjoyed spending time with her. And because she was a little bit younger than I was, you know, she hadn't had kids, you know, she hasn't been married. She wanted all that. Like to her, she's into that fairy tale, live the rest of my life with this man. She probably thought that. I wasn't thinking the rest of my life. I was thinking, okay, I'll do that. See the difference?
Yes.
Brad, you walked right into the story the questions I wanted to ask you, bro. So you're 54, crushing it, great looking guy. How old is your wife now?
She's 35.
That's my man.
There you go.
So there's a 19-year age gap. The story that you're kind of basically summing up about, hey man, be a bachelor, live your life, make your money, you know, chicks come and go, and then you eventually, you know, find some happiness in life. That's where I'm at, dude. I've made money, partied, lived in South Beach, nightlife, been all over the world, chicks galore. But the phase of my life where it's like, dude, I partied enough for 10 lifetimes. Time for me to kind of evolve and take the next step in my life. You had a kid at, you said 17, 19. You've had multiple kids, multiple wives. For most men out there, at what age should they even think about really settling down, having a family, versus focusing on career, fun, money, chicks, that whole situation? Obviously, no one size doesn't fit all, but generally speaking, how should men operate in their time frame?
Well, I think people should give themselves enough time to sample enough things to determine whether or not they like it. So in other words, you know, I wouldn't try, you know, dating one girl and instantly marry her just because you're dying to get married. I would say go date, you know, several. Now, at the same time, if you met one where you're just literally in love with her, you can't necessarily always choose who you love. Well, then I'd say go for it. It just depends on your feeling. There is no one answer to that.
Yeah, but you said you didn't feel like you became a man until you were 30, even though you had 2 kids already. So
I was I was a man. I just wasn't an ethical man.
Right. Well, obviously you were a man, biological man. We're not going Dylan Mulvaney here. Clearly you're a man. But so there's a difference between being a boy, a young man, a grown-up man that's still a fuck boy, if you're familiar with that term, versus like, all right, now I'm a full-on man. Like I didn't become a man until I was probably my late 30s after, as you said, sampling a lot of things, test driving a lot of things, seeing what I liked and what I didn't like. So there is a growth phase that a man has to go through in order to get to that next level, in order to settle down. So do you think that number is 30 for a man? Obviously, no one size doesn't fit all, but I think that most guys are not men until they're at least 30. Would you agree?
Again, most men aren't men ever, but for what you're saying, yes, I would agree. Like what you're trying to get me to say is, how old do you think they should go before they settle down? You know, 30 be a good number, but 35 might even be a better number. You know, maybe even 40, because if at 40 you can still get, you know, a 25-year-old, you know, you're still in that pool where you might as well be 25. Why? Well, because when you were 25, who are you dating? You know, 25, 22, 23. Then you're 35. If you were dating, who are you dating? You know, 20, 22, 23, 24. Like the older men get, their dating still remains in the same pool, the same window for some reason.
I want everybody to listen what Brad just said right there. It's perfectly okay for a 35-year-old, but to be with a 23-year-old. Perfectly okay for a 40-year-old to be with a 26-year-old.
Yes.
Bradley said it had to be true.
100%. Listen, 100%. Let me tell you something. First of all, ladies, if you have a choice, and you do, don't choose a brokey.
Yes.
Like, don't choose a broke-ass dude. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means if he doesn't have enough gas in his car, so he's borrowing money from you, you picked the wrong one.
Yes.
Okay? You picked the wrong one. Don't choose broke dudes. See how, now again, people won't ever say that. And it's like, dude, if I were a girl and I were going to pick a guy, I would not pick a broke one.
Yep.
Does that make me a gold digger?
No.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a
Not
gold
to
digger.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said the other day. Listen, gold digger to me means you're smart. Why? Well, because why would anybody pick a broke one? Like that's just stupid. So all of these things that you can look back at my age and realize that was stupid, that was stupid, that was stupid. You know, we all are going to make the same mistakes. There's going to be girls out there that date the wrong guy, get their heart broken because he's literally a piece of shit. And then there's going to be freaking guys out there that get their heart broken because the chick's a freaking hooer. I say hooer as a joke because my buddy always calls them hooers. But anyway, there's going to be trial and tribulation for all of us. The question is who's going to learn from it and how will you react? And that's what's going to make the difference between winners and losers. Everybody's going to take some freaking punches to the face. The question is how do you react? That's it. So in my 54 years, I've taken a lot of hits to the face. I've been homeless on the beach, you know, in California, trying to be famous. Man, I can tell you, I've lived. So by learning all of these things, it just makes you look in retrospect and get the lesson. Like, dude, it's not nice to cheat on somebody. It hurts people. Nothing ever good comes from it. I've learned that. Why? Yep. Well, because I've hurt people and nothing ever good came from it. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe there's a case where cheating is good, but I haven't found it. Now, and again, I'm not an angel. Have I ever, you know, if I were in a $10,000 basketball game, would I cheat to win? Hey, you know, I don't know. I might get to the line. You know, I might, you know, get in the gray area. But when it comes to like ethical integrity for life, you know, I think if people can just focus on that, then everything else is going to find its way. Like if you're just a real good ethical person with integrity, your life's going to be pretty good. Now, if you don't know how to do something or you don't know, you know, how to succeed, simply find someone who already did. Simply find someone who already knows and ask them. And then hopefully they will tell you, and then you do the work. And that's where most people stop because they don't actually want what they think they want. Because if you knew what you wanted, a little work wouldn't stop you at all.
Love that. Word to the wise out there. Ladies, stay away from brokies.
Yes.
And men, stay away from these whores that are out there running around in these streets. These whores. We got about 15 minutes left with Brad. If you have questions or comments for Brad, put that into the super chat.
Yes.
We appreciate your time, Brad. Last couple questions for you, bro. And I want to kind of get back to the money, working on yourself, playing the long game. You know, there's this whole concept these days about a healthy work-life balance, right? Hey, I need to have a good balance in my life, my social, my lifestyle, my money, my work. You know, you've kind of railed in on a work-life balance before. I've heard you say some quotes on this. You know, Gen Z, there's this trending thing about bare minimum Mondays, and they don't want to work too hard on Mondays, and then it's like free for all Fridays, and it's next thing you know, you know, there's a 4-day work week. Next thing you know, it's a 3-day work week. For a man in his 20s, 30s, really on his grind, what should an ideal, quote unquote, healthy work-life balance look like?
I would say every person that wants to acquire success should be up by 5 a.m. Why? Because there's a lot to do and you need to get up early. That way you can take care of the main 4 in the morning. So if you wake up with that gratitude, it shifts your perspective. And with that perspective, now everything becomes an opportunity instead of a challenge or a problem. So just by shifting your perspective with gratitude, now everything's an opportunity. I have an opportunity to go to the gym. It's 5 a.m. I have an opportunity to get prepared for the day. I have an opportunity to get my affairs in order when everybody else is asleep. I wouldn't be waking up at 8 or 9 o'clock. Now, some people say, what if I work graveyard? We're not talking about the exception, folks. We're talking about the norm, okay? The norm is you should be getting your ass up early, which means technically if you're tired, you probably want to get to bed a little earlier. But I think you should be up at 5 a.m. and I think you should be, you know, working on your existence, your family, or whatever your goals are, till about 7. And then I think from 7 to 11 is your family time. And then I think from 11 to 5 a.m. you're sleeping.
I gotta start waking up
Yeah,
earlier.
you gotta start
According to
waking
Bradley,
up.
I'm up at
I wake
6:30. Holy
I wake
shit!
up at 5, so I agree with that statement.
But as far as
Dude, actually, you live in Florida, dude. So you're up at 3 a.m.
Why?
for me.
Vegas
for
time,
you.
yeah,
I was
Vegas
like,
time.
no.
Well, truth be told,
It's
I
5
was
a.m.
just
somewhere.
I was out with our buddy Michael Sartain in Vegas, and in Vegas time we were out till 3 a.m. So
Oh, okay.
I
There you
didn't
go.
wake up till
Yeah, but
6
dude,
a.m.
you're still partying, bro. It's okay to party sometimes. It's okay to enjoy life. Why do you think you're doing what you're doing? It's to where ultimately you get a chance to afford a nice life, and sometimes that includes celebration and having fun and cutting loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully embrace that. I think more my question was, a lot of the people think that it should be 50-50, work and life. 50, like, work your ass off, but also half your life enjoy. I believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I'm working, I'm reading, I'm improving, I'm strategizing, I'm working out even. And then 20% of the time, listen, call it what you will, weekend warrior, whatever. You kind of need to relish your wins and enjoy life a little bit. What are your thoughts on that as far as like of an overall breakdown?
I agree, other than sleep, if you're not including sleep, yeah, I would agree 80-20. I'm one of those ones that got away with it though. Like I've done all the things everyone says you can't do, and I still win. So when I hear the gurus out there preaching that you have to grind your face off a million hours, you got to skip birthdays and don't worry about your kid's soccer game, you got to build a business and yada, yada, yada. I think one day you're going to look back and regret that. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, a lot of these gurus don't have it right because, they're ultimately trying to say what people want to hear rather than the truth.
So what are your thoughts on when Gary Vee says those exact same things? Hustle your face off, no time to smell the roses, keep working, grind, hustle, 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 hustle. What are your thoughts on when he says things like that?
I don't hear him saying that. I hear him saying the opposite. I'm hearing Gary Vee say, if you want to, go ahead, but you don't need to. He's almost the opposite of that.
Is he?
I think.
All right. Maybe I haven't watched Gary Vee enough in the last few years. All right. Sorry,
I
Gary.
mean, look, you put Gary Vee and all these people and you line them all up, they're all going to kind of sound the same when it comes to the rules of success, because the rules of success are the same. You take Patrick Bet-David and all these people and you line them up, including me, and I'll bet you anything we're all saying the same shit when it comes to rules of success, because they're all the same. It's the same for everybody. That's why I don't understand why there's not more people that are well off. And then they say this 1%. It's like 1%. That sounds like so little, but yet everyone in my neighborhood is rich. And my neighborhood ain't the only neighborhood that's rich. So like, where's this 1%? It seems to be, again, when you look at a town, is the majority of the town broke with just a little tiny street full of houses where the 1% live? No, there's nice neighborhoods all over the place. Where's the shitty neighborhoods? Are they all over the place? I haven't seen them all over the place. Why? Because I don't hang around those
I was
neighborhoods.
going to say, I don't know where you're hanging out.
Well, again, do you? I've been to Florida, dude. There's a lot of rich neighborhoods in Florida.
Oh, man. You're
Oh,
talking to a
yes.
dude who's been all over the nicest places all over Florida, but also some of the worst places all over Florida. They're out
Yes,
there.
they're out
Man of the streets.
They're out there, but it doesn't seem to be that proportion, does it? Like, it doesn't seem to be 99%, filth, floor, and filth, and 1% nice. It seems like there's way more nice than they're letting on.
Well, no, obviously
For
sure.
there's the middle class, there's the poor, there's the middle class, and then there's the rich, and then there's the super rich.
Again, that might be what they want us to believe. Okay, all I'm saying is I think there's a lot more success going on than people think.
Well, great. Shout out to capitalism. Shout out to the free enterprise system. Shout out to America.
Yep.
One last question for you, Brad, before we wrap up. There's this whole debate over chasing money or pursuing money or building money versus following your passions, right? You've said the only way to do great work is to love what you do. You think that is absolute BS, right? Loving what you do is mandatory. So what's your motto, and where should people focus their efforts?
Well, again, I think first they need to figure out what it is they want, and then they should focus their efforts on that. So I don't like think everyone should be doing this or should be doing that. I think you need to figure out what it is that you want. Then I need you to go and understand that there's other people that have probably achieved it. So find them and figure out what they did, and then do what they did, and you'll get what they got. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll say, do it again. Pick another one, do it again. And I'll bet you I wouldn't be wrong twice. Because if I'm wrong, it's a fluke. You know what I'm saying? That is how you get anything you want in life. So figure out what it is. Figure out someone who's already done it and already been there. Get them to either coach you, mentor you, read their books. There's a million of them out there that know it. And then do the work. It's that simple.
You've also said money is not yours. It will never be. Money is temporarily yours, right? For me, the way I'm processing that is it's almost like asset allocation. Some money you're spending, some money you're saving, some money you should be investing. What's, I guess, your deal asset allocation, spending, saving strategy for young people out there?
Well, I mean, I would say pick up The Richest Man in Babylon and read that.
Yeah, I've read that. It's amazing.
If you follow the basic rules of that book, you should do okay. I'm a little more aggressive. Again, I think a little bit more abundantly. I don't necessarily save a bunch of money, and if I were to save it, it would only be to spend it. Like I save it to use. And by the way, I don't really like to say spend, because you can invest or you can spend. And I would advise you don't spend any money at all. Like, 20% for fun. Nope, 0 for fun. Okay, 100% invest your money and your time. 100% invest it. Like if you can just shift your mindset to think, what am I getting in return for this money? And if the answer's, not more valuable than the money, then keep the money. So that to me is an investment. That might be a Ferrari. Some people might say, well, dude, that's not an investment. Well, number one, if you use it on social media and you put on a coaching program and the Ferrari got you 1,000 deals at $500, it paid for itself and made you money. So it's, again, all perspective. But what if it just made you feel good? What if it just made you, when you woke up in the morning, you're driving around town, picked up your confidence just a little bit? What if it made you just work a little bit harder because you knew that frickin' thing's not cheap? What if it made you a little bit better of a person because you finally got a car that you used to dream about? What's wrong with that as an investment? Yeah. Like, why do people want to look down on that? Yeah. There's something to be said about that. So again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You see some people, you want to make fun of them because they're flashing all their money and shit, and then on the other hand, you want to look at these broke people and say, geez, what's their problem? It's like, dude, don't worry about the rich people. Don't worry about the broke people. Go look in the mirror and worry about yourself. Because truly, if everybody just did that, the whole world would improve. We're worried about this person, we're worried about that person, but we're not worried about ourselves. Everybody wants to change, but nobody wants to do any work. Everybody wants to change, but nobody wants to change. It's like, come on, this isn't rocket science. We can literally, if we have the right mindset, skill set, and habits, have anything we want in life.
See how he brings back his entire message at the end? You see that?
Yes, I love it.
That's what's called finishing with a bang. Bradley, I super appreciate you being on here.
Phenomenal.
I'm sure the audience really appreciated it as
They
well.
did.
Natalya over here,
Yes, I did.
who's all in search of silver foxes, is you're drooling a little bit.
I'm
Relax
not
a little
drooling.
bit.
He's a married man, a very loyal married man.
That's true. We learned that. Loyal.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we also learned.
If I ever end up divorced, Nat, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Well, we are selling her bathwater, buy one get one. So I don't think that's cheating, bro.
Stop it.
But Brad, I appreciate you. If you learned anything from Brad,
cheating.
mindset, skill set, and habits. Ladies, stay away from those brokies, and fellas, stay away from them whores.
Whores.
Yeah, you
Good
say it
advice.
yourself,
Good
Brad.
advice, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, bro. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much.
You know what's funny is, like, I can just see the notes of what Brad Lee talked about. Stay away from the whores.
Hey, man, that might have been the
good.
best advice all day. I totally understand that.
Love it.
All right, Brad, where
you,
can
bro.
everyone find you online? Just at Brad Lee on Instagram, and then dropping bombs on YouTube.
No, at the real Brad Lee. And then on YouTube, believe it or not, I just send people to bradlee.tv. But if you go to YouTube and Google Brad Lee, you'll find me.
All right, awesome. Can we make sure to have that in the description below?
Yes, you got
Go
it.
subscribe to Brad's channel. He drops bombs like this every single day. Brad, we appreciate having you on, man.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks.
All right,
Peace.
bro.
Bye.
Thank you, Brad.
That was awesome.
He's a cool dude, yeah?
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like that. You hear that? No cheating.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Why are you saying that?
No,
like
I'm
you're
just
emphasizing
saying.
that I
No,
got
I'm
the
just
problem.
saying, you know, we get like very caught up in the, you know, men should exercise their options when they're, you know, whenever they want to exercise them. But, you know, I think that's important that men stay loyal. And to me, I think cheating is showing weakness. As much as you have options, you know, it's there's strength in holding your ground and a commitment. So shout out to all my loyal gentlemen out there.
That's exactly what a woman would say that's
shout
looking
out
to be
to
in a
you.
committed
Perfect.
relationship, of course.
Perfect.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I like, listen, I like different perspectives. Yesterday we had our gentleman on Bruiser.
Yes.
Was basically saying, listen, if you're over 27, you're spoiled milk and a guy deserves his right to explore his options. He wouldn't,
Yeah.
right? He's not exactly practicing what he preaches in that regard. But I appreciated his opinion
Correct.
in that regard, just like I appreciated Brad's opinion here. Brad's story is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, one shot wonder, 17,
I
kid,
know, that
19,
was
another shot.
shocking.
It's like,
Yeah.
Brad, you know, much respect. You
Yes.
can wrap it up. So can you fellas out there. But I will just say, no matter what circumstances you're in life, right? You had a kid at a young age. He said he was homeless, living on a beach at one point.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's 19, has another kid. He called himself a dipshit, a loser, whatever. Look at him now,
Yep.
54 years old, 7 kids, happily married, multimillionaire, CEO, business guy,
Yep.
millions of followers, subscribers. Play the long game,
Right.
right, as a man.
Okay.
And if you do, maybe or maybe not, you can explore your options. I said maybe or maybe not.
Maybe not.
All right.
Maybe not.
Well, maybe not.
We love the loyal men.
Anyway, we've got about a half hour left
Shall I read some chaps
of
we
today's
got?
show.
Yes.
And we're going to do some reaction to some videos and to some trending topics out there.
I love that.
Now it's going to get in here. Go ahead and do some super chats.
Yes, let me
And
super
then
chat
we'll
that.
get right into it. And
Get into it.
then we'll get our Friday happy hour on.
Friday. Awesome. Well, first, thank you all for the super chats. We appreciate you. Make sure you guys like today's video, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff because we appreciate you guys. And there's a lot of exciting things coming, so, you know, stay tuned to that. First, we've got Bean Cheeks in the chat. Shout out to you, Bean Cheeks. He said, what are the most important factors to consider when building a successful podcasting business from scratch? And what advice would you give to someone just starting out in podcasting? You want to give him like one or two?
Yeah. Play the long game.
There you go.
Anyone can do 3, 5, 10 podcasts. We're on number what, 110 right now?
Yes.
And I feel like we're just getting started.
Yes.
PBD's on, I don't know, 180,
It's 165.
165? Like,
265?
what is it?
265?
Yeah, I mean, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
So anyone can start a podcast. Anyone can do a couple episodes. Are you going to do 100? Are you going to do 200? Are you going to put in the work? You know, you're not going to make a lot of money your first 100 episodes.
Correct.
You're not going to have a traction your first 100 episodes. So are you willing to play the long game? That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to. Everyone wants to, you know, start a podcast these days, but a lot of them are closing down shop after they get 4 views on their first 24 episodes. So are you willing to put in the work and reap the benefits? Like, it's kind of like planting a seed. You can't eat the fruit off the tree for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Correct.
Playing the long game seems like a common theme this episode.
Awesome. That was a great one. Then we actually have a super chat from Conquer Network, which is
Oh, my guy, Bruiser.
Yesterday, shout out to you. It was great having you on. We look forward to having you back. He said, if you plan to step out, respect your partner enough to have a conversation before you act and let them know how you plan to move. Nice. Then
Listen, I told Bruiser on the show, after the show,
Yeah.
we don't have to agree on everything. But what I do appreciate about him is he has beliefs and he stands by them.
Yeah.
Now, let the audience decide whether they fully agree with him, fully disagree with him, all good. But what I do appreciate is someone who has an opinion it's a strong opinion. They stick to it. They stick to their guns and they believe in it.
Yeah.
You can believe in whatever you want. So anyway, if you haven't followed or subscribed to the Concur Network, to Bruiser, give that man a follow. He's a very classy guy. Thank you for being on, Bruiser.
Yes. Awesome. And then we have our next super chat from Aram Kirk. If the guy is 45 years old, divorced with kids, and he's a high value man, should he date a single woman or a single mom?
I think at that point, listen, I have friends around here that have dated and married single moms, and we kind of get into some conversations and disagreements. I say, for the most part, in generality, that a single dude should not just start wifing up women with kids. There are exceptions. You can fall in love. There's a lot of negatives to that. However, if you have kids and she has kids, I think that's a different story, right? Like my cousin Ross that was on recently, he had 2 kids. The girl that she ended up with had 2 kids. You know, there's a story about this, about a man named Brady. Oh. Not Tom Brady. We're talking about the motherfucking Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
So, you know, there's a different scenario.
Right.
I just think if you're single, next thing you know, you're raising someone else's kids. That's not my trajectory in life, but you do you.
Yeah. I mean, I would give a little advice to you. Just consider that you would become a step parent, which is also different responsibilities. You know, you're going to parent those kids in a way where they may not accept you right away. So that's just something to consider when you are dating women with kids. Now, also, the women who do have kids, they also have a sense of taking care of individuals. So that's always nice and comforting. But just know kids are not always easy, and they're not always accepting as maybe the woman is. So just be mindful, you know, be open, but also be clear on what you want and the difficulties and struggles that you're willing to go through for the partner you pick. That would be my advice to you. And that's it for Super Chats right now at the moment. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for the Super Chats. We appreciate you. Happy Friday. It's SOSCAST Day. I love Friday, SOSCAST Day, because we get to have conversations like this. And I think having these individuals like the one we had on today, Mr. Brad, I think those conversations are very important for you guys as an audience. You know, I know we have a lot of gentlemen out there looking how to better themselves. So, you know, today's podcast was a great podcast for that.
Awesome. We've got some clips that we're going to act to, some stories we're going to act to. Then we have some announcements that we'll make at the end of the show. Stay tuned. If you like the SOSCAST, we got some changes coming up. We've got some events coming up.
Yes.
We got some announcements. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, Joey's going to pull up some clips that we're going to react to. I always say this all the time. We talked about it with Brad, about what's going on with Andrew Tate, I think is an absolute sham. What's happening in Romania, but at the very least, he has his Twitter back.
Yes.
And we're monitoring that because the mainstream media is going to basically tear down this man, call him a misogynist, call him names, this, that, and that. But as someone that has interviewed him, as someone that is close with his camp, PBD, Tate, Valuetainment, ourselves, I feel the need to give him and shine his light and give him his props where it's due. But he's made some controversial comments this week about festa hoes that he talks about, not festival girls. And he's also called out some of the crypto nerds out there. So pull up his Twitter. Let's address some of these Tate comments, and let's get your opinion on the other side of this.
Yes.
So here's what Tate is saying about women who go to festivals. So Tate says, this is from his Cobra Tate account, he says, avoid women who go to festivals. They're either on some loser's table who's feeding from cocaine or in a crowd of sweaty peasants because they're a sweaty peasant. Endless Instagram stories screaming and having fun to prove to the world they're worthless. Hard pass on festa hoes.
Shoot.
So, Nat.
Yes.
What's the last festival you've been to?
The same one you've been to. If I go anywhere, I go with you. You keep me safe.
And how long ago was that?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
You keep me safe. I'm like, okay, I'm with this guy.
You know, there's a story from Seinfeld that it's a festivus for the rest of us if you're a Seinfeld fan. He just made up a new word, festa hoes, for the rest of hoes. Here's what I'll say to what Tate is saying about that. As we all know, Tate likes to be extreme and make bombastic comments. I don't think that every girl that goes to a festival is a festa hoe. However, a lot are.
Yes, they
Okay?
are. Yeah.
A lot are.
We've
Not
seen 'em.
you.
Yeah, but we've
They
seen
out
'em.
there. I will say this. At some point, every woman has to have an epiphany phase. Okay? Now, I don't expect women who are 21, 23, 25 to not want to go to festivals and not want to go to concerts and clubs. And I think that's completely unrealistic. I think it would be hypocritical for me that's worked in nightlife and has hung out with thousands, if not millions of women in clubs to be like, what you hoes doing up in clubs and festivals? So I think that would be hypocritical.
Right.
I will say at a certain point, sooner rather than later for women, they should exit stage left from being a festa hoe or being a hoe and actually turn into a good girl, not a bad bitch, a good girl,
Right.
and actually get their mind right and act right. I'll give you a story. I'm in Miami the other night, and my buddy introduces me to a very pretty girl, pretty, tall, gorgeous. This girl was blonde, dark eyes, the whole deal. And I was like, oh, so what up? What do you like to do? She's like, yeah, I just moved down here from New York, and I'm a DJ. I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, well, I'm kind of like a part-time DJ. I work in an office, but I really want to be a DJ. And I'm going to Rufus of Soul this weekend, and I'm going to this event. I'm going to that. And I said, that sounds great. How old are you? She goes, 38. I'm like, you're 38, and this is what you're all about. Now, listen, if you're 28, that's already kind of a little crossing the line.
Yeah.
But you're 38 talking like you're 21. Lovely meeting you, Rebecca. I'm going stage left here. So
Yikes.
there's different stages in life that you can be a festa hoe
Right.
versus just a straight up hoe.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for a man that is looking for something a little more in depth and a little serious and has been to festivals and has been with some festa hoes,
Guilty.
for me, I wasn't fooled by how pretty she was and how, good looking she was and how done up she was. She answered one question about what are you all about? And when she's like, I love to go to festivals and concerts and dance and do my thing, and I'm trying to become a DJ at 38, I said, best of luck, baby. So I'm right there with you, Tate. At some point, you do need to avoid these type of women.
Yes.
But at the same time, not every girl that goes to a festival
Is like that. For sure.
But a lot are.
Yeah, no, they're out
Okay.
there. So just be mindful of those women. But you can pick up on it. Use your instinct, man. Like, be smart. You can sense when a girl is looking for things from you. And a lot of the time in that scene, they want to be in the VIP and do whatever. So just be on you're on 10,
I'll say one last thing. And I think most guys will understand what I'm saying here. Some of these girls are, how do I say this? Very attractive.
They're very attractive.
Like, very
Yes.
attractive. So, there's nothing wrong with, as Drake says, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
So, there's nothing wrong with partying with some of these festa hoes. You just don't want to be wifing up these festa hoes.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with that too, because it just takes one wrong night for you to make
Yeah.
a decision or something happen. Look, we had a one-shot
Yeah.
wonder,
Well, that's why
and
you,
now you're engaged forever with a relationship because of the child with the festa.
Well, that's why you wrap it up.
correct. But if
Okay.
it breaks or something, then what?
Bend, don't break. That's my final point. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man, what
That's what they say in the NFL. Defense, bend, don't break.
Yeah, because I watched that.
Tate then goes in. If he said, oh, you think I'm only calling out the hoes? Hold my beer. Let's call out some of these crypto nerds out here for a second. So Tate had this to say about some of these crypto people out there. And I know a lot of them because, as you all know, Miami has become the capital of capital, the capital of crypto, the capital of NFTs.
Right.
Not fucking things that I deal with, NFTs. He says, there is a new generation of nerds, crypto kids who got rich in 2021 by scamming in shitcoins or NFTs. The easy money isn't in crypto anymore. They're 20-something and have no real-world skills, but the rent is due, and their crypto fortune is sinking.
Yikes.
So they buy a Lamborghini and some watches. They open up social media accounts and brand themselves as businessmen. They come up with some backstory about being as successful in real life despite being 20 years old. Scroll down. Yep. Usually a digital market agency or some other value or bullshit that can't be proven. Then they try to sell you the secrets of how to make money. Some 25-year-old yelling at you that money is easy. All right, he goes on and on and on. Wow. So I've seen this. I know this. I can appreciate this. I understand this. You know, I think if there's any message that I try to convey to all you guys out there is my whole thing with money, other than save that money, is I want to build wealth slow, not get rich quick. So you have no idea how many guys I've seen come and go in Miami over the years, whether it's the real estate stuff, tech stuff, crypto stuff, NFT stuff. It's sort of easy to get rich quick, but it's very hard to build wealth slow.
Right.
So most of the crypto kids that he's talking about, some of the reasons that they lose their money isn't so much because they made money and they lost money in crypto. No, that's not what it is. It's because when you build wealth or get rich quick, you have zero foundation of how to operate. You have zero understanding of what to do with the money. You haven't really earned it. So what happens is you start paying $6,000 in rent when you should be spending $2,000. You end up buying a $100,000 Lamborghini when you could just Uber everywhere or just have a normal whatever car.
Yeah.
You end up going to clubs and you're 21 years old and you are what is known as a fucking mark. And they say, oh, the table minimum is $5,000 tonight. Welcome to Club Live or Club Story or Bodega or whatever amazing club there is in South Beach or in Vegas at Excess and Lavo or whatever Tao Group owns. And they're going to hit you with the minimum and you don't know shit. And then, by the way, the bottle waitress knows that you don't know shit. So she's going to hit you with that 20% gratuity. You just paid her $1,000 and you have no clue what you're doing.
Yep.
However, if you've been around the block a little bit, you could say, hi, I would like a table with no minimum. Or we're going to chop up the bill a few different ways. Or I know a promoter and I'm going to sit with him and all his chicks and I'm just going to drop him $500 for letting me sit with him. When there's a will, there's a way. But if you have no experience, you're going to get taken to the cleaners. You know, they say a man with money meets a man with experience.
Yeah.
A man with the money walks away with the experience. A man with the experience walks away with the money. Good luck, young fella out there. So that's what happens with a lot of these crypto kids. It's easy to say Bitcoin was worth 60, 70 grand and then it went down to 15, 20 and that's where they lost all their money. Yes, that is on the surface the story. We all understand that Dogecoin at one point was almost worth $1. Now it's worth less than a penny, whatever the number is. Fact check me, all good. But that's only half the story. You've made the money. Now what do you do with it?
The money. Yeah.
So that's my little rant on these crypto nerds out here flaunting.
I would love to put it. I was talking to you actually in the car about that interview we had with Mr. Richard Hart. You know, he was really big into crypto and he was explaining Hex. You know, why it's you know, it will never crash and it will never go down. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys would like us to bring him back, you know, kind of follow up to see how he's doing when it comes to all of this stuff going on. Because I would love to see kind of where he's at right now. I've seen him trending on Twitter. So I would love to see if you guys would like to see him back.
Next week, in 2 weeks, we're going to be at the Miami Bitcoin Conference. Okay. Would you like to come with me to that?
I would love to go with you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Nat. Maybe I'll bring you along with me.
I love when you appreciate
Okay.
I appreciate you.
So we'll be there for that. We're going to be having Michael Saylor on the PBD podcast. We're also going to be having Rand Nooner, who has one of the biggest crypto shows out there called Crypto Banter. He'll be on PBD podcast coming up along with George Gammon. So we're going to be talking finance, crypto, Bitcoin with all these guys in the next couple of weeks at the Miami Bitcoin Conference. And your boy Saz, of course, he's going to be out there as well. Say what's up if you see me out there in these streets.
Yes.
But yeah, get rich quick doesn't work in the long run. Build wealth slow. Speaking of not trying to get rich quick, speaking of building wealth slow, you know, they often say that there's a process to these things. So there's actually an NBA player nicknamed The Process.
Oh.
Familiar with this guy?
I will be after today.
Yeah, you will be. And his name is Joel Embiid.
Joel
All right, now
Embiid.
Joel Embiid, if you're not a basketball fan, that's okay, because there's a bigger story here about staying the course and understanding the process. But if you are a basketball fan, I feel like you're doubly going to appreciate this story because Joel Embiid, Philadelphia 76ers right now, they're playing the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. But Joel Embiid was recently named the NBA's most valuable player for 2023. Now, Joel Embiid, the reason we're talking about him is I don't just know of Joel Embiid. I don't just know Joel Embiid. I'm actually friends with Joel Embiid.
Yay.
I've been hanging out with him for almost a decade since his rookie year in the NBA. So let me give you a little backstory. Let's pull up the actual ESPN article about him winning his first. So Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid wins his first MVP. Scroll down a little bit.
Nice.
Okay. So Sixers NBA MVP, yeah, we got all that, right? He beat Giannis, he beat Nikola Jokic. But here's his reaction to winning the MVP. This is after, I think this is his 9th or 10th year in the league. For the past 2 years, he's finished runner-up, but he just won MVP. But this is the ending of the story. We're going to play this, but then we're going to go back to the beginning of the story and why I think this moment is so powerful. So let's play the ending of the story, and then we'll go back in time to the beginning with some pictures that I have with Embiid. So play this video.
Tonight, 2023 MVP from the Philadelphia 76ers.
So his whole team is applauding, going nuts. Just watch Embiid. Just keep your eyes on Embiid. He's the first person you see right there. He's not standing up. He's not cheering. He's not applauding. That's former MVP James Harden giving him a hug. Okay, all he's doing is crying. Okay? And all he's doing is thinking about everything he's been through to get to this moment. By the way, I think Joel's 29, gonna be 30 soon.
I'm going to cry.
Okay, Nat's gonna
sweet.
cry.
I'm going to cry.
Former MVP James Harden hugging him, loving him, his teammates, Tobias Harris, dapping him up. Maxi's right there. He can't even move. He's just crying.
Wow.
But, you know, as we say here at the end of the show, that's the happy ending. But let's go back in time a little bit, and we're going to basically go through some pictures of Joel and I hanging out, and I'll give you a little backstory, because here's the deal with Joel. The process, they said you need to trust the process. Why? Because his first 2 years in the league, you know how many games he played his first 2 years?
How many?
Take a guess. 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Maybe like 7?
0.
Oh,
Played 0 games.
not a good
He was
guess.
injured. He was out of shape. He was living it up. He had some back problems. He had some feet problems. He didn't play any games.
Wow.
But what did the Philadelphia 76ers franchise say? Trust the process. So you might not be where you're at going to be in life. Trust the process. We just did an interview with Brad Lee.
Right.
He trusted the process. At 54, he's doing the best he's ever been in life. When he was 24, he had 2 kids from 2 baby mamas, had no money, homeless, living on a beach.
Yeah.
Trust the process. So Joel's 29. He was drafted number 3 overall in the 2014 NBA draft out of Kansas, 7 foot, and he likes drinking Shirley Temples.
Aww.
Now, how do I know that?
How do you know that?
Because
Sus?
I've been out to many clubs with Joel Embiid in Miami.
Wow.
Now, as I've said before, what I've told people, what I've told the Kardashians, what I've told NBA players, what I've told musicians, what I've told celebrities is hold on, Joe, is don't hit me up when you're in New York. I'm not the New York guy. Don't hit me up when you're in LA. I'm not a Vegas guy, like Chicago. That's not me. Dallas, not really. But when you're in Miami, hit me up.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what a lot of people did. So Joel hits me up. His agent, good friends with my buddy, Humphrey's agent. We all know this. So for many years, still am, but not as much, when people came to Miami, they hit up your boy Sos. So Joel hits me up. What's up? Yo, Sos, I'm in town, brother. What's up? What's up? We're going out to a club. Here's some pictures. I don't know if they're in any particular order, but I'll just kind of explain what happened. And these were a lot of times in the first couple of years where he wasn't even playing.
Oh.
So let's see some of these pictures. So this is at Club Live.
Wow, look at you, Sauce.
Okay.
No gray hair.
No gray hair for Sauce back in the day. So I brought Joel to the club. I knew that girl. He's like, hey, it's okay if I hang out with a girlfriend. You got it, brother. So Nat, that girl kind of looks like you a little bit.
No, not at all.
No?
No.
You know,
Definitely.
curvilicious, brunette, pretty. I don't know.
She's pretty, but doesn't look like me.
I don't know. I can't, my eyesight in as.
We know.
But as you can see here, they just put confetti out in the club. Joel, this isn't a story about him partying, drinking. He drinks Shirley Temples.
Good for him.
Okay, but not really, because Shirley Temples have grenadine in them. That's as sugary as a drink as it gets.
Yeah. But
Okay.
at least he's sober.
He was sober. Okay.
Okay.
So that was at Club Live. Shout out to Giselle, the bartender. But we would go out. We would go out in South Beach. Keep going. So that was at a club.
There you
Punch
are.
in a little bit. There I am.
Oh, you need
That
a
was-
10, baby.
That was the half the Philadelphia 76ers team. There's my guy, Nerlens Noel, all the way to the right. Joel Embiid to his side. Here are some homegirls of mine. In the middle next to me is Jeremy Grant. Great player. A couple other players right there. This guy was a club promoter. The Asian girl that I'm with, that was actually my buddy's girlfriend.
Oh.
That wasn't my girl. We were all cozying up. But
Clearly.
we were popping bottles all up in the club. Okay?
She's very
This is
close.
before he became an all-star. This is before that he became an MVP. He was out with your boy Saz all up in the club.
Oh, no.
There's a message here at the end. Stay tuned.
I'm saying.
Keep going. What other pictures do we have? Okay, so this was after.
Wow, look at how
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, that's me.
Look at how
Yeah.
small you look. Oh, and you're tall.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm 6'10".
Yeah.
That's how tall he is.
How tall is he?
No, I'm 6 foot. He's 7 foot.
Wow.
This was after,
Massive.
I want to say his third year in the league when he just started playing. He still looked like a little youngster at that point.
Yeah.
So the guy all the way to the left,
Yeah.
whose family member do you think that is? His or mine?
Oh, it's definitely not yours.
It's
his.
definitely mine. That is my British uncle Stixie
Really?
that I've known for all my life. I saws, you think you can get me in a date tickets to go see your boy, your mate, Joel Embiid, the process. I said, I got you. That's been like my family member forever. Everyone thinks is like, who are you? Why are you with Embiid's family? I said, why? How racist and presumptuous you're. That's actually my uncle over there.
Wow.
Uncle Stixie. Anybody that knows me or knows my friend Stixie down in South Beach. So anyway, that was that. Then keep going. What other pictures do we have? So now we're talking, this was a few years ago, when he looks a little bit more like he looks now.
Right.
This is a kid that I asked Joel to take a picture with because this kid goes to every single Heat game. He's in a wheelchair. I said, would you come meet this guy? He can't come down to the floor.
Yeah.
This is after the game. Clearly, there's nobody in the stands.
Right.
So if you go to Heat games or any other game out there, the family and friends get after game passes
Yeah.
to come on the court and come hang out with the players. They sit in the front rows, and that's where you hang out with the players before oftentimes they get on their bus and they leave. I said, would you do me a favor? Would you walk all the way to the top so you can say hi to this guy that can't make it down here because he's in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
this kid, and take a picture with him? He goes, whatever you need, Saz.
Aw.
So that speaks to his character out there. He came by and popped a picture. So absolute stud. So I think, is that all the pictures?
That's it.
So there's more pictures out there. But what's my point here?
You look better with gray hair.
Oh, that I look better now? Thanks. That's my point, guys. Moving on.
That's my
No,
point.
what's my point here is that, there's a beginning, middle, and end to your story in life, okay? And right now, I'm in the middle of my story. Joel Embiid is in the middle of his story, okay? Of his life story, of his basketball career. But if you only judge your story at the beginning, you might think that there's no happy ending at the
Yeah.
end, right? First 2 years of his league, played 0 games. He was called a bust. He was injured. Basically people were saying that he's never going to amount to anything. He's injury prone. Why did Philadelphia waste such a top pick, a number 3 pick in the draft on this bust, injury prone guy?
Yeah.
But what did they say? Trust the process. His nickname is the process. 9 years later, okay, he's the MVP of the league. And that's no small feat.
It's huge.
He beat out the 2-time reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, out of Denver, okay, who was a favorite to be an MVP, and also two-time MVP and NBA champion, Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay, of the Milwaukee Bucks, who my Miami Heat eliminated. But when you go back to that video, okay, go back to that video of him crying just for a second.
You can feel
And picture yourself, before you play this video, picture yourself and embodying Joel Embiid. You're working, you're hustling, you're an entrepreneur, you're a sales guy, you've started a business, you're struggling out there, you haven't made enough money, things are tough out there, the economy, inflation, interest rates, mortgages, crisis, supply chain, there's so much going on. You came into the league when you're 20 years old, you're 29 now, and after everything you've been through, the heartbreak, the failure, the long nights, the sleepless nights, the breakups, everything that's going on, and then it all culminates with you being named MVP, or for you, Salesman of the Year, millionaire, CEO, boss, success. Picture yourself as Joel Embiid 10 years later after you started the process. Play that video now and put yourself in Joel's shoes. Go ahead.
Look at the men camaraderie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, the camaraderie right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have no idea how happy I am for this guy.
Yeah.
Such a good dude, such a real dude. You know.
You know what this means, right?
What's that?
We gotta have him on the SOSCAST.
Yeah, we got to get him on.
We gotta bring him on the SOSCAST.
You know, he doesn't really do a lot of these podcasts out here these
It's
days.
okay.
But, you know, you might or not know this. I got a connection with him.
I think you do.
Okay. So he went from drinking Shirley Temples all up in the club with Saz
Wow.
to NBA MVP, and we'll see if he becomes a world champion this year. We'll see if he ends up making it out of this round with the versus Celtics. Hopefully he ends up playing my Heat in the next round if they can beat the Knicks. But I love this story so much because I've known this guy since he's a rookie, and he's got a heart of gold, as hilarious as it gets. And it couldn't happen to a better guy. So I'm wishing him all the success, and I'm wishing you all the success. I'm wishing you the same trajectory as I'm wishing Joel Embiid, okay? Because we all have a starting place. We all have our doubters. We all have our haters. We all have our people that say you ain't going to be shit. You're not going to amount to nothing. Tune out the noise. Focus on what you can control and become the MVP in your life. So shout out to Joel Embiid.
Shout out to you.
There we go.
Ask the
Anyway,
chat.
Nat, you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I
You're-
want to
you're-
ask the chat.
You're crying a little bit?
Yeah, I was crying because, you know, sometimes you see these gentlemen and you don't hear sometimes the best things about these athletes. And when you get to see some of them reach these levels of success and you don't understand the struggle, like you show those pictures of him when you guys used to party together.
Yeah.
And as fun as it may look, you'd be surprised what people are going through, like internally, right? It's
Yeah.
like he came here to party, but look at where he is now, you know, putting things aside, you know, putting your priorities first and putting yourself first. And to me, like a reaction like that, I know it's like, men shouldn't cry and show weakness, but like seeing that, you can't help but respect, you know? It's like, shout out to you for putting the work, the grind, you know? Went to go see a fan in the wheelchair. Like, it's those little things that are character builders for people. And when you see even the team come together, and the former VIP, you know, like congrats. MVP.
Yeah.
VIP,
the
MVP, right?
Well, the VIPs are in the club, the MVPs are on the court. There
Same
you go.
thing, there you go. But to see the former MVP, you know, congratulate him. I love to see that men camaraderie. You know, you don't see that very often today too much. So when you see that, it's like you get to see the team. Essentially, it's like the team won together. You know, the MVP is on their team.
Oh, yeah.
So shout out to you and the work you put in and the struggle that you've been through. And, you know, just know, hopefully it's going to be up from here from you. And I think this is a nice little taste tester for you to see how far you've come. So shout out to you,
Taste
Joel.
tester. All right,
Yes.
that's awesome. I've got a couple more stories, but I want to wrap up now because I want to cut the episode short. I think we had a great episode with Brad Lee. I think we learned a lot.
Yes.
I think this story of Joel is where I would like to end this. I got a couple announcements. Is there any more super chats that we want to get to?
Yes, let me read the
super chats.
you've
Let's
got.
do these, and then a couple announcements.
Yes.
Some housekeeping items for the people out there to understand what's coming up next.
Yes.
On the SOSCAST. Go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the super chats. I always got to say thank you because we appreciate you guys tuning in. We've got Rai Hito. Guys, any advice for my new routine? Wake up at 4:15 a.m., drive to work, get there at 5, go to the gym at work 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., get home from work at 5:30, work out 6 to 7, play video games 7 to 9 p.m., go to bed at 9. Should I cut out the video games?
I mean, it's like,
What are you making
as
per
I'm
year,
hearing
first
this,
off?
I don't. What does he do for work? I don't know if you can.
It doesn't say.
Okay, but it's so funny. I guess yes. Cut out the video games. I mean, 2 hours of video games. But as I'm hearing this, I'm like, this guy's up at 4:15.
Yeah.
He's working out at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
He's grinding. He's hustling. He's doing it, but he can't get ahead. The only catch is he's playing video games for 2 hours every night. It's like,
Yeah.
unless you're a video gamer, okay, that's making money from this, yeah, cut that shit out.
Yeah.
I will say, because you're gonna be, I like to have fun. Listen, I work my ass off. I have a financial firm. I'm doing content with Valuetainment. We're doing business planning. We're strategizing. We're working on major things.
Right.
By the time I get home, dude, I am like, don't eat, like nothing.
Fried.
So what do? I'll turn on an NBA game. I'll relax. I'll let loose. I'm not a fucking robot.
Right.
I'll have a cocktail. I'll chill, whatever. But I'm not playing 2 hours of video games.
Yeah.
I allow myself some grace, some chill time. We all know that. So obviously you should have your leisure. But no, if you really want to get ahead, I think you can. So maybe play video games for a half hour, for an hour. But if you're playing video games for 2 hours a night, for 7 nights a week, that's 14 hours a week of video games. That's 28. That's 54 hours a month of video games.
Yeah.
As they used to say back in the day in Full House, cut it out.
Oh, I love that. Cut it out.
Shout
That's
out to
cute.
Joey Gladstone.
I think also a determining
You know that?
factor too is what do you do for work and if you're happy doing it and if you want to do more, because then you have to also differentiate like your time, separate with your time.
Yeah.
We actually have Caleb Box in the chat.
Oh my God,
I know
my
that's your
guy.
boy, right?
Yeah, that's my boy.
Shout out to you. He said, here's a tip for him. I had to cut out video games with a routine like that. Focus on 5 important tasks that move you forward and only get that done every day. Otherwise, it's not possible to maintain. 1% wins every day will compound.
You know how there's rules and exceptions?
Yes.
Caleb's an exception. He's an exceptional dude. You know, I always say play the long game. I think Caleb's 22, 23. I don't know how old. He's young, but I feel like he's been grinding since he's like 16. And I feel like he's like a 30-year-old in a 23-year-old body. So he's the exception, not the rule. Be like Caleb.
Be like Caleb. And then that is it for chats. Thank you guys for the chats. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Because Sauce is about to announce some upcoming things.
Yeah, we got
and
some
you don't
things
want to
going
miss
on.
it. So
Yeah. Well, scheduling, okay? Usually SOSCAST is on Thursdays and Fridays. We're going to be switching it up next week and potentially moving forward. Next week, we're going to be doing this show on Tuesdays.
going up.
Tuesdays
On a
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So we're still going to be doing Thursdays, but next Thursday we're actually doing on Friday. But moving forward, SOSCAST for the most part will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then every once in a while we'll have special episodes on Fridays.
Yes.
Fridays are going to be special episodes. So Tuesdays is going to be SOS and Nat doing our thing. Thursdays, as always, we do our panel with lovely women, opinionated dudes, everything that we do on Thursdays. Now, Fridays is when we're going to be doing special episodes. So we're going to have a major announcement that we'll announce on Tuesday.
Yes.
That's when we'll make the announcement. But in a handful of weeks, we're going to be doing a special Friday episode with the one and only, well, the two and only.
There we go.
Fresh and Fit.
Fresh and Fit. You
So
guys
Fresh
asked
and
for
Fit,
it.
is coming out here. We're bringing some ladies on here.
Yep.
We're going to be hosting an event with Fresh and Fit. Details to come.
Yes.
So if you're a fan of Fresh and Fit, if you're a fan of Myron, if you're a fan of Walt, aka Fresh, we are cooking up something nice to collaborate with Fresh and Fit, SOSCAST, and Valuetainment here. So stay tuned for those details.
Yes.
But you do not want to miss Tuesday's show.
Don't.
Where we're breaking out all the details for this upcoming podcast / event / bonanza / extravaganza / George Costanza.
And
I don't know.
I was trying to get you to go.
We're going with that. But that's it for housekeeping today. I really appreciate our guest today, Brad Lee.
Yes.
I think the one message that I'm taking away for you guys all here, for you fellas out there, is play the long game. You might not be where you want to be today, okay? But you're going to get there if, and we'll use Brad Lee's words, you have the right mindset, skill set, and habits. Trust the process, like my old buddy, Joel Embiid.
Yes.
Shout out to the MVP, and shout out to you being the MVP of your life, of your story. You might be a rookie, scrub, bench warmer right now, but there's an MVP somewhere inside of you, buddy. So go become that. Anyway, enjoy the weekend. Trust the process.
Yes.
And save that money.
money.
We're out. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Whoop, whoop.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
See you guys.